Welcome for this class on the topic of effective leadership. This is a very short class and some very straightforward ideas will be discussed. There are many concepts of leader effectiveness. Jürgen recognizes that the assessment of leadership effectiveness is very subjective. So when we attempt to measure the effectiveness of a leader, it's down to our opinion, which means it's not very solid. It is not positive. It's not amenable to testing in some rigorous form. It's subjective. He says that the criteria selected to evaluate leadership effectiveness reflect a researcher's explicit or implicit conception of leadership. So, yeah, it's subjective. There are also many measures that can be used to measure effectiveness. For example, the commitment the leader has to a particular project or to the organization. Difficult to measure, difficult to state, but we know that effectiveness is related to commitment. That makes sense. It's just, it is subjective. We know that the effectiveness of a leader is a reflection of the satisfaction and attitudes of followers. True. But again, how do we measure that? It's the overall performance of the group. Is the group that the leader is in charge of, is this group performing better? And how do we benchmark that? How do we know it's better than it would have been had somebody else led it? What's the contribution of the leader to the group process? If a group is doing really well, is it because the leader is causing it to do well, or is it because the group is doing well on its own? Maybe the group is composed of very competent workers, very skilled workers, workers with a lot of initiative. So it's not necessarily the case that the leader is causing it to be better. Again, very difficult to determine, but we know that there is a relationship there of some sort. Psychology tells us that individuals are shaped by their unique experiences, and therefore each person perceives things differently. For this reason, it should be remembered that leadership perceived as successful by one person might not be by another due to the differences in values and beliefs. It's also the case that it could be argued that anyone can be made to look effective if you choose the right criteria. So if we just go back to the earlier slide, we have some sort of measurement of effectiveness, commitment by the leader, difficult to measure, satisfaction and attitudes of followers. The leader affects that, but to what extent and how is it measured? The performance of the leader's group, how is it measured? We know there is an impact there. We know the leader does influence the performance of the group, but to what extent? And the contribution of the leader to the group processes. We know there must be an effect, but how to measure it? So probably this class has raised more questions than answers, but it gives us those 4 points that we can put against an attempt to measure leadership effectiveness, and those should be borne in mind. That's really all I wanted to do in this class, a very short class, but it's important when we come down to measure the effectiveness of a leader. So that's it for now. So thank you for watching.